Hello, this is Mr. Stein, and in this video, we're going to work through some of the questions from the Prerequisite Skills practice. Okay, here's our Prerequisite Skills for Chapter 6. Question number 1, state whether each statement is true or false. If a statement is false, explain why. I'm going to draw up some sketches for each of these two. Letter A, the diagonals of a rectangle bisect each other. Bisect means cut in half. So if I were to draw a perfect rectangle, would these diagonals cut each other in half? And the answer to that is true. That is a true statement. You need to draw a little more precise answer. Letter B, a square is a rhombus. You have to think way back to grade 5 about what a rhombus is. A rhombus is a quadrilateral with 4 equal sides. So a square is a quadrilateral with 4 equal sides, so it's true. Letter C, a trapezoid is a parallelogram. Let's take a look. A trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides, so it is not a parallel sides. A trapezoid has only one pair of parallel sides, so one set of parallel sides. The diagonals of a parallelogram are equal. Well, let's take a look at a parallelogram. If our parallelogram is a rectangle, then our diagonals would be equal. But not all parallelograms are rectangles. So if we take a look at this parallelogram, look at how different in length those are. So this is false. They're not equal. Some parallelograms they are, some parallelograms they aren't. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. So this is pretty close to a rhombus. We should get did these guys get cut in half? Well, if you drew it more precisely, a precise line, this would be true. A parallelogram with one right angle is a rectangle. So a parallelogram with one right angle is a rectangle. And that is true. If we have one right angle, they all will have to be right angles for it to be a parallelogram, because opposite angles are equal in parallelograms. G, all squares are rectangles. That is true. All squares are rectangles. Some trapezoids are squares. That is false. Squares always have two pairs of parallel sides. Trapezoids always have one pair of parallel sides. A rectangle with two adjacent sides equal is a square. Adjacent means next to. So if we draw a rectangle, quadrilateral, it's a parallelogram with 4 right angles, and this side are equal, well then they all have to be equal. So this is a true statement as well. So it's just, do you understand the definitions of these terms? Simplify. So we got some fraction work here. And adding and subtracting fractions means common denominator. So our first question is going to be 3 over 4 plus 8 over 4. We have to change that to a common denominator to get an answer of 11 over 4. Right? Common denominator, add or subtract the numerators. 7 over 2 minus 3. Well, this is 3 over 1. So this is going to become 7 over 2 minus 6 over 2. Right? An equivalent fraction. And we get 1/2 as our answer. Negative 5 over 3 plus 2, that's 2 over 1. So it's going to be negative 5 over 3 plus 6 over 3, which is equal to 1 over 3. Last one. These both have a denominator, so we have to find the least common multiple of 2 and 5, and that's 10. So we multiply our first fraction by 5 over 5, so we get negative 15 over 10 plus 4 over 10. And to add those together, remember we said that negative, we can just move it up so it applies only to the numerator. It just makes things a little easier. Negative 15 plus 4 is negative 11 over 10. All right, multiplying. Multiplying is actually a little easier. We just make this 12 over 1, and we multiply straight across. But I like to simplify while I'm multiplying. So times 12 over 1. I like to simplify as I go along. I can divide that by 4 to get it down to 1. And if I divide one thing on the denominator by 4, I've got to divide one thing on the numerator by 4. So that becomes 3. This becomes 15 over 1, or just 15. Negative 7 over 3 times 9. So it's negative 7 over 3 times 9 over 1. I like to simplify first. I can divide that by 3. So I have to divide one thing on the top by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Oh, sorry, on the denominator here, that was 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm going to get negative 21 over 1, or negative 21. I like to simplify first rather than reduce after. Now this one, well, I can divide the 4 by 2 to get 2, and then I have to divide the 10 by 2 to get 5. I can divide the 3 by 3 to get 1, then I have to divide the 9 by 3 to get 3. And then I multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 3 is 6. And this would be a negative 5 over 6, because one of our fractions is negative and the other one's positive. Negative times a positive is a negative. Last one. Again, I'm going to do this reducing. I can divide this guy by 2 to get 2. Then I have to divide something on the numerator by 2. So I can divide the 6 by 2 to get 3. I can divide my 5 by 5 to get not 5. 5 divided by 5 isn't 5. It's 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now look, I can still reduce because I have a 3 in the numerator and 3 in the denominator. This will cross and give me 1, cross that out and give me 1, and I get negative 1/2. That's my final answer. When I multiply fractions, I like to reduce as I go along. All right, so that's how you do these questions. I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below.